working with peelable paint. Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Fonzie.
And this is DIY Detail. I'm in the studios of Dip Your Car. This is an amazing experience. I've got a great operation here. It's a lot of fun. But today we're going to be working on peelable paint. Something we've never done before on the channel, and something that as a do-it-yourselfer or even as a professional detailer, it's a skill you might want to learn. Fonzie, how did Dip Your Car start?
Well, we started back in 2011 in my garage. It's been a long 15 years. Back then, I never would have thought that sanding, polishing, and paint correction and peelable paints would be in the same sentence. But at this point, we have 2K Clearcoats for both our DIY and our professional customers. So because these Clearcoats remain peelable, but also feel and behave like regular traditional Clearcoat, you can sand and polish them. Customers want to take advantage of that, and that's why you're here.
Excellent. And you say a peelable 2K Clearcoat. What brought you to that? And is this something anyone can buy?
It's something anyone can buy. It's a big project. Of course, you're spraying and dipping your entire car. But it's something anyone can buy, anyone can do. And when we say peelable 2K Clearcoat, we've got our peelable base underneath here doing what it normally does, but we've got a 2K Clearcoat designed to be compatible with our peelable base coat that goes right on top. So it will look, feel, and behave just like a regular car. Because a lot of our customers, for a long time, we've really only had the matte and satin finishes. And after a while,
you get tired of that.
They're like, where's the gloss? And now we've got the gloss.
Excellent. And you also have regular paint as well. So if someone wants to actually do permanent paint on their car, not peelable paint, that's available here as well.
All of our Dip Your Car colors, as well as all OEM colors, are now available on DipYourCar.com in high quality traditional permanent paint.
Excellent. So I'm going to let Fonzie go. He's got another meeting to go to. We're going to do the wet sanding and polishing on this hood and bring it to the way it should look. The first step we need to do is sanding. This was applied with a turbine gun, and it's the standard Dip Your Car turbine. There's a few things. It wasn't done in a paint booth. It was done with a turbine spray gun, and there's a few inclusions here and there. There's some dust nibs, there's a few other things. If you have a paint booth, even better, but a lot of people dipping their own cars don't have a paint booth. So we're gonna start by sanding, and we're gonna start with 1500 grit. You can get more aggressive if you want to, but it's really not necessary. The Dip Your Car 2K Clears are very easy to work with. They're very nice to work with, and it doesn't matter which one you're working with, and if you have the peelable or permanent base, it's going to work perfectly every time. Start with a bit of rinseless wash on the sandpaper, a little bit on the surface, basically wet sanding. And I'm starting with 1500 grit, and we'll show you what that does. We're using rinseless wash as a lubrication and also to help control dust, because dust is your enemy in this situation. We don't want dust, but make sure that your paper that you're using is compatible with being a damp used paper instead of a dry paper. So we're getting closer. There's areas here where we have almost no orange peel left, and here we have a lot more, so I'm going to concentrate here a little more. we want to stop and inspect frequently. And here we can see we have almost none of those little shiny spots. Most of it is matte, so we're going to leave that alone. Here I still have a little more to go, so let me concentrate on here. If your goal is perfectly flat paint, you might want to add an extra coat or two to give you room to sand. In this case, we're very close. I'm switching to 2000 grit. We'll get this nice and sanded up, and then we'll be back for the polish. Now here we're machine sanding. You can also hand sand this. It'll take you a little more time, and actually if you have bigger defects, it's actually faster and easier to hand sand without the interface pad. So we're using an interface pad that helps us follow the contours. But if you have very specific contours, or if you have areas that are a little more delicate, you'll want to hand sand, and sometimes without the interface pad. But as we can see, we've got a nice even matte surface. There's still a little bit of glossy points here. Here it's almost all matte. Let me give it one more shot of sanding, and then we'll move on to the compounding and polishing. the DIY detail polishing system, we have 4 pads available, depending if you're using a rotary or a dual action machine or a combination. We'll explain what each pad does. For cutting, which is we've sanded to 2000 grit, we want to bring that shine up, we want to get rid of that hazy surface, that's where we need to cut. For cutting, we have 2 specific pads. One is for the rotary, and this is our rotary cutting pad. You've got a 1/2 inch thick wool surface plus a foam interface. This foam interface is rather stiff. It's designed to work with the rotary. With a dual action machine, we have the dual action cutting pad. Again, a foam interface, but a little softer, and it's a shorter nap wool to work better with that dual action machine. Now for finishing. If you're using a dual action machine, you'll use our yellow waffle pad. The yellow waffle pad will keep the surface nice and cool, and at the same time, give you a nice contouring effect. It follows the curves of the vehicle much better. And with the rotary, we have our rotary jeweling pad. Now, the rotary jeweling pad is designed specifically for the rotary, but it will work with your dual action machine as well. The only ones that we don't want to switch back and forth between a rotary and a dual action are these 2, the wool pads. You need the thicker nap for the rotary, and you need the short nap for the dual action machine. The pads are available both 5 and 6 inch, depending on the machine you have. Now, this jeweling pad works great on the rotary, but it'll also work well on the dual action machine. And if you're wanting the best of both worlds, cut with a dual action and finish with a rotary. For cutting and finishing, we have 2 options. We have our gold standard compound, a very aggressive compound, works very quickly, and you're not going to have issues with dusting, things like that. And it runs cool. Very important to keep the surface nice and cool. Finally, we have the gold standard polish. The gold standard polish is a sprayable polish. You use a lot less of it. A little goes a very long way, and you can actually finish down this 2000 grit just using the gold standard polish. I'll show you how to do that in a second. We always start with a clean, damp pad. I'm spraying a bit of rinseless wash on the pad, then I'll spin it out in a pad washer. Now in this case, the pad is not wet, it's just damp. And you're going to be putting 3 small drops. More is actually not better. I have my 3 drops on the machine. Put the machine on the surface. Don't start it in the air or else you'll be wearing the polish. Not something we want to do. Speed 3, and I'll use the trigger lock and no pressure on the machine. When the compound starts clearing up on the surface, it's done its time, and you can see the amount of clear coat we've removed from the surface. So be very careful. You don't want to over polish. Now at this point, we still have a bit of a haze. That's normal. I'll give it a second pass, and then we'll see where we're at. Before adding more compound to the pad, I'm going to clean my pad once again. We've eliminated all the sanding marks. Now it's time to go polishing. But before we go to polishing, I'll show you how to cut with a rotary machine. Again, starting with a clean, damp pad. The reason we want a damp pad instead of a dry pad reduces friction, reduces heat, and also makes your pad glide a lot easier, giving you a better user experience. So with the rotary to cut, we have it at speed 1. I'm going to put the same 3 drops that we did with the dual action machine. We want to keep the pad flat. Again, no pressure, flat pad. When the machine starts to feel grabby or it's starting to pull you around, now's the time to stop and clean your pad. And we can see just how much clear coat again we've accumulated here. Let's see what our finish looks like. So the rotary doesn't cut quite as quick as the dual action machine, but you will get the job done. So I still have to cut here a little more. Let me clean my pad, I'll be right back. Now that I've wiped it off, I see I still have a little bit here that's sanded. The rest looks fine. Let me get that one little corner, then we can move on. More compound on your pad is not better. 3 drops is all you need. Also, you'll notice I'm going right over this edge onto the factory paint underneath. It's not lifting the peelable paint off the surface. It has a great bond. It's easy to peel, but at the same time, it holds on very well. With a rotary, most of the cutting is happening close to the edge of the pad. You want to resist the urge to tilt the pad up though. You'll get a lot more surface area, a lot more cutting with the pad kept flat, and also you get a better feel for the machine. If you go up on edge, you get a false sense of security and you get that false sense of it's still cutting. When in reality, the abrasive is loaded with clear coat at a certain point and it's not cutting anymore. When you're keeping the pad flat, you will feel that transition. When it starts to get grabby, that means you're just moving clear coat around and you're no longer cutting. Now I said I would leave a section to do just with the polish. Let me get the polish. Gold standard polish is a sprayable polish. You want to spray it on the pad while it's rotating. The goal is to get nice even coverage over the pad. Speed 3, no pressure. Once the polish residue clears up, you're no longer cutting, so time to wipe it clean. See, the polish did a great job. Do you need the compound? Yes, but the polish, if you're a little more patient, will do a great job. Now, if you're using a polish, you'll need to work in slightly smaller areas to be able to concentrate that there. And I still have a bit on the edge here. So let me clean my pad. I'll have to go over that section one last time. If you're wanting more cut from the machine, resist the urge to put pressure on the machine or turn the speed up. Instead, actually slow down your arm movement. You'll get much faster cut from your machine. Now we're ready for the finishing step. Again, gold standard polish, speed 3 on the machine, and no pressure. Now, this is the finish with the dual action machine. Let me show you finishing with the rotary. Once again, starting with a clean damp pad, one spray of the polish, speed 1 with your rotary, no pressure. See how the waffle pad follows the curve of the panel? I'm not having to adjust the angle of the machine to do that. It follows that naturally. The other thing is we're showing you step by step. If you actually want to save a step, and it's one that we actually encourage you to do, is don't wipe off the compounder residue. Keep going, leave it on the vehicle, then go over it with the polish. They interact well, they're designed to work together. To wipe off your polish residue, use a rinseless dampened towel. Lightly go over the surface. This will emulsify the carriers in the rinseless wash. Let it air dry a little bit, then go over with a plush towel to dry and reveal the gloss. Now that you've sanded, compounded, and polished the paint, you need a bit of protection. We have a couple different ways of protecting it. Ideally, ceramic coating. But if you don't want to go there, and it is peelable paint, you might want to peel it off, so there's no point in putting a long-term ceramic on it. Use NV ceramic detail spray, a little mist on the surface. You don't need much. Then level it in. A few important things to cover. First of all, what we did here can be done with any paint. The DipYourCar's system reacts like normal paint. Whether it be their permanent or their peelable, it sands and polishes just like any paint on the market. The two tools we used here are a 25mm dual action machine and our rotary. Ideally with a rotary, you want to keep the speed below 800 RPM, so make sure your rotary can go that low. And with the dual action machine, between 3 and 3,500 orbits per minute, depending on your machine. Now, if you have a 15mm machine, it's going to take you a lot longer. If you have a 21mm machine, not too bad, and the 25 is by far the most efficient and gives you a beautiful finish. Fonzie, what do you think?
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's simple, it's easy, it's something that anyone can do at home, and all these products are available at DipYourCar.com. And there we have it. If you have any questions about anything we've covered here, be it Dip Your Car or DIY Detail, we'll be happy to help in the comments below. In the meantime, there's another video you might want to watch right here.